Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. So I'm moving my banks. I should have done it sooner, but it took me a while to get my license, and I wanted some local banks, and I have one that's not local, but it's military veteran related. So it's a kind of a good bank, really. And actually, I think even like some foreign service officers use it because it has a lot of foreign services as far as the bank, right, or international services. So so I'm doing it, and I'm trying to every bank that I got one bank locally, and I had another one that I wanted. So everyone I would try to do, I didn't qualify for the bonus by like something, like a smaller bonus I qualified, but I was trying to get a bigger bonus with it, and so I couldn't get anywhere. So I get to this one, I'm like, oh, this bank here, I think I've seen this one around. And I Google to see where it's at, and it's over in Saxonburg. And it worked. So you see, they actually did pay me back for doing the psychic reading over there. The metaphysical thing. Right? That was pretty funny. And I did notice that bank when I was over there. So that worked pretty good. And actually, I was trying to get a savings bank. I just couldn't get to the point of getting. Again, it's all metaphysics, and it actually, was a bundle, so it worked. Again, so if they were around like 20 years ago, I'd probably been okay, right? Who knows? Actually, my life did I think my life initially did. My life did initially. Actually, they were killing me, so it was. But part of my pickup in life, I had an M&T bank account, and it really worked for me. I mean, it wasn't nothing fabulous, but so your bank can actually help you, or it can hurt you if it's a deep state bank. That's pretty funny. So actually, I don't use cash money all that much, but maybe I have a reason to go over to Saxonburg. So that was interesting. I mean, my leg hurt. I didn't feel like going to a bank. Took a few aspirin today. I'm kind of like down a little bit. I think it's healing, but time will tell. I'm out. When I took that walk, it was like a 3-mile walk. It was like nothing. So I don't know what this is. It could be my back is loosening up, and then my legs aren't strong enough, so it's causing a little bit of discomfort. So they have to strengthen. So I got to call Fetterman's office or send an email. I got to go look at that stuff. But I have to focus, and I still got to do some more posting on that. It's I'm kind of behind. Definitely need to look into that. And they're attacking it before it's finished simply because she's allowing. But the point that they don't understand is that they're on the street anyway. It's not like, hey, we're going to introduce these unhoused people to Seattle. They're already out there. Nobody knows who they are. There are street urchins out there at 11 p.m. You will. So there are things that they have to address. What will generally happen is they will panhandle on adjacent intersections that look like you know good prospects for panhandling. So you have to address that if that's going to be a trouble with the neighbors. That's anywhere they stay. People that are on limited income, even when they're like in on disability in extended stays and hotels and stuff like that. They'll at a certain point of the month they run out of money because it's not much. Right. Then they hit the streets for panhandling. But again, as far as crime and all that, it exists anyway. But the idea is to get it away from that. So what you want to do is you want to reintroduce them to a normal society. What the other well, if they're going to use drugs and you put them out on the street, you're not going to get them off of drugs faster. But there's going to again, if you watch those videos from Vic and all the rest, once they're indoctrinated away from it, after being, they're indoctrinated into drug use. And again, there's a lot to it. Where did they meet each other? Where do they get their social interaction? It's the narcotics world. So the key is to get them into a more stable environment. There are actually, I don't know if Chandler was the one that said it, but there's some people that actually say what drove them. It's a loop. It's the whole thing self-defeating. When they're out there, I mean, there's no self-esteem. I'm a homeless person on opiates, right? And it just take more drugs to hide it from my mind. So what they do is that you get them into the housing situation. So there's a lot to go with it. Like I said, it's very important. The programming around it, how they're supposed to feel about themselves, building up their self-image, and then it becomes easier to get them off the narcotics. But again, not everybody is going to use narcotics that lives there. So, and that's another key is to make the preferential behavior, the excitement of the future of not using narcotics as the prime mover, as the dominant behavior. Right. If we keep them on the street, they're going to be around people using drugs. Every once in a while, somebody like Vic or a social worker will show up, but it's not the mechanism that's most beneficial. It's not most beneficial to police officers either to have to look for them on the street versus someplace like that. But it does take a lot of security to make it work. And again, that security, it doesn't have to be heavy-handed. It's just you have to stay engaged with the residents. Right. So again, build the community. It's not just housing. It's building a community and treating the whole person and making them feel like a person. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of underlying psychology involved in the drug use. And you saw, I don't know, Gavin's up in the air. Supposedly he picked him up. Something's going on over there. I guess he has a real name. I don't know if Gavin's his real name or not. With Vic. But you saw how he was, how quickly he changed. And I believe that's just, we give him credit, but I think that's just from prayer and things. Right. So we might actually be looking at that, right, in these communities here, a quick change like that, if we can get them off the narcotics. Well, again, if you look, Vic and Chandler, they're not doing the old kind of, Alcoholics Anonymous introduction. It's more natural. Right. And again, the idea is reintroducing them to community. I about fell over when the AI said that with Rabbi Yeshua. I believe somehow their self-image was destroyed. That's part of the narcotics use. You know, they're worth more than using narcotics. Right. And then, of course, there's a physical addiction aspect that kicks in once they get there. No, I was getting discouraged. I tried several packs. So like, you got to come in. I'm like, ugh, my knee hurts. And then there it was. I said, oh, they're paying me back. Metaphysically speaking, of course. Well, I thought they were too small, and then when I looked at them, they look sufficient in size. They look bigger inside than they do outside. They should like those. Now, we should have people available to speak to at those places. In the middle of the night, if they're going through withdrawal, strung out, whatever it is. Right. And then we should have assets. You know, we should have like we should have what do they call it? We should have slots in those facilities. They make a call, they can get somebody into rehab quick. Right. Detox and rehab. So if something's going on, I can approach staff. Hey, look, I don't have money. I don't have drugs. I don't know what to do. I don't want to do anything wrong. Right. Right. And then we can get them somewhere. We can get a little bit of comfort. And so, because of these new introduced narcotics, right, especially in like the Kensington area, I think she was Kensington, I can't remember, but she's a very intelligent woman. Should have been somewhere in life. She's obviously a big woman, but she's stuck using drugs for the moment. And she was saying, she said, you know, it's scary. It's just I got to get clean. I got to find somewhere to get clean. I can't just do it. You know, they're saying these, you know, some people, you know, they go unconscious and all those type of things, right? With the trank and the rhino trank, and now there's something else. If you stay in communication and they feel comfortable speaking to you, then this will go great. Because that's the key. At a certain point, and it could be 1 a.m, they may be ready. Talk to you instead of trying to find some drugs. Get to some rehab. Again, we have it in New Mexico, but I like the way the mayor ran it in 2016. We get them to work beautifying the city. I know Portland had a lot of work as far as beautification. I'm sure Seattle has some. Right. So you actually give them a job before they actually have to, navigate employment themselves. And you give them, a stipend or spending account. Being a prostitute is a curse. So you need to heal that directly. That could actually lead to narcotics use. If a young lady is cursed to be a prostitute, and the only way that she'll be a prostitute is to be addicted to fentanyl opiates, then that's the route it'll take. If there's enough juice behind it. Right. People that invoke these demons do not control the demons. Right. All right. I got to go study what the citizens are asking for, residents in Seattle, to see if it makes any sense. Because I'm thinking it's just gonna, it could actually make it worse if they move. So they're concentrated there in illegal activity. If you shut that down, it may disperse them to the point that it's more difficult to investigate and to manage. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God, and all that you do, praise God.